Yo, what up, Internet? We're back. It's Truanseez, another class skip for all the right reasons. Thanks for coming back with us. With me today, I have probably sonically the most intense artist that we've had up to date. I would say it's in the tie with Holland, but in two different genres. Shout out to Holland is, but I got with me Snowblood. How are you doing
Hi.
today?
I'm great.
Yeah?
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for the margarita.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. How was the drive over here?
Beautiful. It's nice to get out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's
So,
how's the year been treating you so far?
like this current year or
Yeah.
like an annual year backwards?
We could do the backwards leading up until where we're at now too.
Well, 2021 has been cool so far. I feel like I mean obviously yeah, last year was really hard, but I feel like motivated and just trying to make stuff with what I can right now without
Yeah.
traveling. So just trying to be creative at home and
Hell yeah! I mean,
considering, yeah.
you dropped the album and you dropped singles a little bit before that completed the album eventually before. But
Yeah.
I want to bring it back a little bit to your origins. Where were you born? Where were you raised? And were you in the same
Oh.
spot?
No, actually, I moved around a lot when I was younger, which I think kind of shaped me because we were always moving. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I was born in New York. So I was here as a baby, and then we moved to like Tennessee, I guess. I don't remember that. And then
Yeah.
I kind of grew up in Texas, and then we moved to the Bay Area in California when I was a little older, and then LA. So yeah, I've been all over the place.
Hell yeah.
So I feel like it kind of gave me an interesting perspective on some things because everything was always changing, and I was always a new person, and
Yeah.
but it gives you a cool, I guess, maybe different kind of world view, I guess.
At
as
least
opposed
at
to,
least
like,
of the country
always-
too.
Yeah, like being in the same place your whole life. I bet that would be cool too and interesting. I don't have that experience.
Yeah.
but-
Well, it sounds like you were in a lot of the at least culturally cool spots of the country. You know.
Yeah, that's
So,
alright.
And what was childhood like for you? Were you, for me, when I hear your music, I feel like a lot of the nostalgia of the '90s, whether it be the music or cartoons, from there, it gives me those images in my head. Was that an influence at all in like specifically like childhood movies or cartoons or any of that?
I mean, I was, I think some of the other genres. I was really into like '90s pop and like Spice Girls was like. A big
I
fucking
definitely hear
deal.
that in your music too.
Yeah, so
Damn.
that was like kind of a game changer, and I was really into like technotronic and like the kind of like sample based like '90s
For sure.
dance
And
music.
where'd you find that specifically?
I think we were in like Plano, Texas, while I was growing up, and I think I was so young I didn't like understand what was going on.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I feel like there was like a radio station my dad would put on that like only played that kind of music, like Black Box
Yeah.
and like all those really cool artists. So I was just obsessed with that kind of like music. I don't know what the station was. I can't remember, but it was just like it was available to me, and I loved it. And then I have an older brother, so he
Okay.
was always really into metal.
Yeah.
So he, like, I got into like Metallica, and
Yeah.
like, he was really into Godsmack, even though he probably would deny it now, and like Slipknot, and like.
Godsmack has some hits though. There's a
Right?
couple ones.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't know why it seems like kind of embarrassing, but like.
I
but it's
Stand
definitely
Alone.
cool.
I Stand Alone is
I love that song.
specifically when I was working at corporate jobs, I would bump that song before I went into an interview. Cause it just got me pumped, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yo, I'm not gonna listen to this man, but I'm gonna get that job, and I'm gonna get my money, and
So
I'll wear
dope.
this suit and tie for you for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I'm out of here, you know." It was one of those songs where it just like, it made me feel like I was like, "Yeah, I'm not selling out, even though."
Yeah, you
kinda
can
am.
walk into any situation. You're like,
Exa-
yeah, like, you
exactly.
can't fuck with me. It's like,
Exactly.
cool. I love that. So,
Yeah. Shout
so
out
I
to
guess,
Godsmack.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then Slipknot. So your brother brought a lot of like metal and aggressive rock into your life too.
Yeah, I didn't really understand it. I feel like thanks. I was like a little girl,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
I just like
Is it just you two?
yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I have an older brother, so that's it. And yeah, I didn't fully understand it. It always sounded kind of like angry, which I couldn't like connect with at the time because I was like a little girl, like
Yeah.
My Little Pony, and you know what I mean. So
For sure.
there's nothing really to be mad about.
Uh-huh.
But I definitely grew up on it, and later on appreciated it more and realized like you don't have to be pissed off to like metal. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just cool. It makes you feel cool.
But like Slipknot and a lot of those guys, definitely their music derived from a lot of emotional
Yeah.
anger, and
Yeah,
you look
and
at Corey
trauma and
Taylor's
stuff.
past. Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
you're just like, oh damn, like that was real. Like Slipknot is real. Corey Taylor is the god of and I don't know how to say this, but child abuse.
Yeah.
Like aggressive sound, you know.
Yeah.
And it's authentic, so I think that's why they've also have such a cult-like following and have lasted this long, you know.
Yeah, it's real. It's cool.
So yeah, so you have all those playing, and like you said, you as a kid you didn't really relate to it, but the sounds, whether it be like the music, guitar, or whatever, like it kind of intrigued you.
Yeah, and I think later in life I was able to like enjoy it more and like I understood it more, and so then like mix with like my pop background and everything. It's, I guess now that we're talking about it, I really realize like I think I've in a way try to blend that together a little bit. So
in elementary and in middle school, were you after school were you like listening to music, or were you just doing regular kid shit? I always had a lot of activities. I've been a dancer since I was little, so after school I was usually at my dance studio for like the rest of the day. And then like in high school I went to performing arts high school, actually out here in Orange County, to the Orange County High School of the Arts. Okay.
OSHA. So I danced there, so I was there till like 5 o'clock at night dancing, and so was music being played in your house a lot? Because you said your dad played the electronic station. Yeah, like my dad listened to classical, so I love classical music as well. And my mom, she's Puerto Rican, and she loves like Spanish music, Cuban jazz and stuff like that.
Dope.
So I've kind of grew up with a lot of different kinds of
that's
music.
Cool. I mean,
yeah.
And it only makes sense why you make the music you make, where it's just like all kinds of different tempo changes and sounds added to, and it kind of is a reflection of where your mind kind of just ended up as the age that you're at and where you're at right now too, you know?
Yeah, it's like what I like to hear, I guess. So it's fun to like experiment with like blending all these different genres together. Yeah. In a way.
And then even aesthetically, like going back to the metal stuff, you incorporate a lot of that into your music. So in high school, were you listening to a lot more, aggressive stuff, or?
Yeah, I got really into Metallica in high school.
Hell yeah.
So I was super into the Black Album and Master of Puppets. But also like kind of more angsty, like teen stuff. Like I was really into My Chemical Romance.
Of course, you can't deny it.
I found them. I went with a friend to like my first festival ever, and it was like a vegan festival, like out in the woods somewhere. I don't remember where it was. It was somewhere in Orange County.
Yeah.
I didn't drive yet, so like my mom or my dad took us.
Yeah.
But I went to go see like Goldfinger and the Used were playing.
Oh hell yeah.
And then like My Chem was just starting out, so I was like blown away.
Was this like 03, 04?
I feel like probably.
Yeah, around that era,
Maybe, like 03 probably. And so I really liked that scene.
What year did you graduate high school?
2006.
Okay, so you're a little bit older than me. Yeah, so that makes sense. Around that time is where all of those, like, what I consider now legendary emo bands were coming out of, and they were like internet. I found out about My Chemical Romance and the Used. I wasn't too into them at the time, but I look back on it now and I appreciate the legacy that they left, or that they have on people, because it really was an authentic. Everyone kind of made a meme before a meme of the whole emo mentality.
Right.
But like
But this was even like second gen emo, because I didn't know about emo
prior
before.
to that.
And, Luis like was really to like the original emo, but then this was like, I guess it had like emo vibes, but it was a whole different like sound. Like, what do you call that? I don't know. But I know what you mean though.
I get what you're saying, because then it eventually
My Chemical Romance was like pretty like rock. It was like rock. It's like rock,
alternative.
So, but
it's like aggressive alternative rock, I guess.
But I was obsessed.
So around that time, you were, influenced by all of that scene that later on went to be. Grabbed by the Warped Tour scene and all that shit, and then MySpace came along and
MySpace.
And then from there you had, were you doing music as a?
No, not yet. I didn't start music till like a year and a half or so after I graduated or so, and just because I was always a fan of music, and I found all these kind of underground, more kind of like electro underground artists at the time too. When I was in high school, like this band called Gravy Train, and like just like weird. They're like Orange County bands too, just like. And like I got into Salt and Peppa and like B-52s and like these kind of like other kind of interesting
from the past though.
Cause I guess I discovered more stuff that like I guess like wasn't stuff I discovered from my mom or my dad or my brother, and I was like, also, this is a side note, but like my family, we were like late to the internet. I was like the last person I feel like in my class ever that had it.
For sure.
So like to discover streaming and like you could listen to any music from anywhere, like that was like I was a little late to that. So I started like just discovering like all this music I hadn't heard before.
No,
because,
for sure. I mean,
it wasn't available to me. So.
Definitely.
So I feel like during high school I discovered like a ton of new artists. I heard Queen for like really the first time when I was like
In high school?
I was like a junior, I feel like, and I was like, what? This exists?
Yeah,
like, this is amazing. Like,
and that is amazing that you can go go a whole adolescent life without coming across the sounds of Queen, because it's like hard to avoid.
You knew I knew the We Are the Champions,
Bohemian
but like I hadn't
Rhapsody
heard like Bicycle Race, or I didn't hear Fat Bottom Girls, or like any of these other any of the other songs, just like the main ones, So
dude, there's a Queen song, I believe it's called Innuendo. It's like a deep cut.
Yeah.
And dude, there's a metal part in it.
No way.
Yeah, I
think
was
I've heard
mind
it.
blown. I remember I was on my way to Coachella in like 2012, and my friend just put on, we were faded, and he just like put on this deep cut of Queen, and I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? And he's like, it's Queen, and I was like, that's heavy. Like,
Really?
Queen is obviously artistically just like out of this world. Freddie Mercury and all those guys were just undeniably great at what they did with the piano and everything across rock and roll. And I don't even think in their head they're like, we're gonna write a metal track, but it was something that like later on you can transcribe, and if you were to add that riff into like a Godsmack fucking track, it would work. It blew my mind. So I was like, yo, Queen was all over the spot. But yeah, in high school is when you really like want it all musically. You're just like, I want to learn about the history, and then you dive deep into the past. So you said you went back and you were listening to like B-52s, who randomly, like, from what I know, they were big in like punk, and they started messing with the electronic sounds during that time.
I see like stuff like that. Like I didn't know when I was younger. Because it's like what your parents listen to. I guess it's weird, and they didn't listen to like, I guess, more kind of like psychedelic stuff like that, or even Bob Dylan or anything like that. Like I didn't really listen to that kind of stuff till like later on, like 70s stuff, or
for sure,
even a lot of like 80s stuff.
So then, in high school, you hadn't done music yet, but then you were starting to. What led you to becoming musical artist?
My first band, I just was hanging out with my friends, and we just decided to try to make some shit. Like, it was very organic. It was like very random. So we just had like a computer, and it had GarageBand on it.
And this is the Millionaires?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So we just were like, oh look, you could like drag these like loops and like make a song.
Yeah.
And we just like wrote these like silly lyrics and just screamed to a mic. Cause there was like bands back then that I liked that they sounded like really lo-fi. It was like
for sure
very underground. So it just seemed like really accessible to people, like anyone can maybe make music.
Yeah.
And I always thought that'd be really fun. I mean, I always dance, so I love being on stage, but I thought it'd be so cool to make music, but I never thought I would have a knack for it.
And was it just you three girls really making all the music at the time?
Yeah, well, what you hear now, it's stuff that was like remixed or like
producers got their hands on it.
The initial stuff is still out there, I guess, like on YouTube, but it was not as good, I guess, but it had like a certain charm because it was very
because at the time
slapped together. But it was just like all GarageBand loops, and then we ended up meeting some other producers, this guy Mark Maxwell, who saw it and heard it and was like, I can make this better, and took it and like produced it and like made it sound like something more legit.
And this was in high school still? You guys were making...
I was the oldest, so I was already graduated. It was like probably around 2007, so I'd already graduated.
Yeah.
But the youngest sister, she was still in high school. She was like 15 or
For
16.
Sure. See, and that stage I was when I heard... I came across your guys' music on MySpace, and there was a couple girls that I dated in high school that were a fan of your guys' music. So it's funny to see that now, like where now you're sitting here, I'm having an interview, and I was like, yo, that's hilarious. Like,
it's weird.
I remember that a couple girls playing your music,
and you're probably like, what the hell is this?
I mean, I just sat back and listened to it, and I was like, yo, this is extremely different for sure. And MySpace was pumping out all kinds of weird shit,
Yeah, because you just like, we would make something in a day and then just put it on MySpace.
Yeah.
And then like thousands of people somehow heard it, and it would just go everywhere. We had no idea. We're just like, how is this even happening?
Yeah, and I miss that moment of just like the most random shit and the blends of all the worlds coming together. Like, I remember the Devil Wears Prada blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
I mean, the recordings now didn't age well, but at the time, MySpace put a band like that out, or Heavy Heavy Lolo, and all these other weird fucking,
Whoa, I remember that.
Like grindcore / like hardcore, just aggressive music, and it was just like
Remember like Crystal Castles?
Crystal Castles
Yeah,
came out of
like stuff like
MySpace.
that.
Yeah. And then later on, that became Crystal Castles, and that whole, like, they were really big in leading the dance club scene out of LA in like 2009.
I would go to their shows in Hollywood.
Did you play any shows in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean, not as cool as the Crystal Castles one. I thought they were like just like the pinnacle of cool. So it was definitely cool going to those shows. I love like electro and going to those clubs, like because they have like 18 plus clubs.
Yeah,
Sometimes we can get when we were younger too.
Yeah, club dance and shit like that. You remember that?
There were some I can't even remember the names of, but yeah, I definitely would go to club dance. You went to dance?
Dude, I went to dance a couple times, and Moscow. You remember
Yeah,
Club
so like I
Moscow?
played at Moscow like a bunch of times.
I was gonna ask you. I'm pretty sure you've played there too.
Yeah.
And I might have seen you, but I definitely was.
Everyone was wasted.
A 19-year-old that definitely shouldn't
Yeah.
have been in the club that turn, but I was.
Somehow like it was like allowed and like everyone was just drunk.
Yeah.
It was a different time.
It was fun though.
I'm glad I made it. I think about it sometimes. I'm like, I'm so glad I like made it out alive.
For
the
sure.
party. We were driving up here right now, and we were driving
Yeah.
through Diamond Bar. I was like, I remember this. I used to come out to parties like
Yeah.
at random houses. Like, you'd see a flyer on
Yeah.
MySpace, and people would just circulate them, and you would just go. Like hundreds of kids would show up to these parties.
sure.
And then they would get rolled by the cops or whatever. Helicopters would show up. Like people got stabbed. Like it was very unhinged.
Yeah, dude. To be youthful and take those risks.
It was very insane.
I'm glad I took them.
I saw some crazy shit.
Yeah, well, I'm glad we took all those risks and we made it out alive, like you said. But it was
Yeah.
a situation where I look back on it and I'm like,
It was definitely
I
cool,
got that
though.
out
It
of
was
my
interesting.
system, you know?
Yeah, and that's actually how me and my friend Melissa like met, and it's like how we became friends, and then Millionaire started. So like if
For
I
sure.
hadn't gone to all those parties, like we would have never met. And,
Yeah.
like, none of that would have ever happened. So
So yeah, so the Millionaires takes off on MySpace, and you guys have your little shine, and from there you guys are hit up by those producers to like make it a little bit better, and you guys start playing shows. Did you guys do tours at all, or?
yeah, we did a bunch of U.S. tours. I mean, the first one was like very jank. We were like in a minivan, and like we didn't know what a tour manager was, and so.
But
it
you
was,
guys are all under 20, right?
Yeah, so we
so
were
it's
really
like-
young. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was. We played some really interesting, sketchy places.
For
but,
sure.
it was cool. Definitely a cool experience. But
Yeah.
then it got more legit at some point. We got picked up by Crush Management, and we signed in the UK, so we were doing stuff out there. We were
Dope.
out in the UK for like a while, and then we did a bunch of US tours, and we did Warped Tour in 2009. So that was really fun.
Hell yeah.
But also controversial, you know. So yeah, but I had a fun time. It was
Yeah,
cool. I liked
yeah.
the controversy at the time at the Warped Tour
Yeah,
area because it just was just like silly. We were just like, fuck you, like
Dude, yeah, Warped-
we don't care.
for
like,
sure. What you guys were getting a lot of like hate from?
Yeah, like
Warped
from the
Tour?
other bands and stuff too.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
So, but
Which is-
I thought it was funny to like be confrontational about
Yeah.
it though, because people would be nice to us like behind the scenes and off stage, but then like they get on stage and like talk shit about us like on stage and be like, what is this
Yeah,
electronic music?
That's whack
You know?
because it's funny because Warped Tour is like, you look back on it now, RIP, and it's a situation where it's like the epitome of high school vibes, you know? Like,
yeah, such drama.
Yeah,
So stupid.
yeah.
So that's why I tried not to take it too seriously. And
But I
was
did
like-
appreciate the eclecticness that Warped Tour gave us,
that's
you
like,
know?
yeah, it's like that's part of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
why does it all have to be this like one thing? The cool thing was like some like of the other bands like Gallows and some of these other like punk bands, like they recognized, they were like, you guys are actually super fucking punk, like what you're doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, so we got props from a lot of people.
Hell yeah. And it really is lyrically. I was telling Spence that like I went back and listened to a lot of the Millionaire shit, and I'm like, yo, this shit is.
It kind of like still stands pretty well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it aged-
I'm
a
not
lot of it-
embarrassed by it at all. I think it's kind of dope.
And
So.
but you know, and I was telling him that I don't know if for radio play, I don't know if it could get played right now because you guys were talking that shit, you know, like you guys
Yeah.
were
We went
very
in.
abrasive but confident, and
A
it
lot
was
of
like.
it's like very offensive, maybe even at
Hell,
this
hell
point,
yeah,
but
and
we didn't care.
I'm all here for it now, but like obviously the culture has shifted
Yeah.
since then.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know who's controlling the strings. I don't want to fucking know, but it's one of those situations where I look back on that time and I'm like, I'm glad this happened because
It's a moment
when
in
we
time.
were in our youth,
Yeah.
we didn't give a fuck
It's
about a lot
cool.
of
It's,
things.
like,
and it was tight.
encapsulated. Yeah.
And there was all kinds of cool shit coming out. You know, from MySpace, it brought out so many cool like risk takers and genre blending and brought people together. You know,
Yeah, totally.
and leading up to all those clubs in LA, where it was electronic music and dance music was obviously what was being played behind those speakers, but everyone was coming from different subgenres of or subcultures of like punk and hardcore and
Yeah.
you know metal and all kinds of other shit too. So
Totally.
and then so after that, when did when did the Millionaires like kind of split up in
like around 2010-ish.
It was quick. It was a quick burn then in the spectrum of
yeah,
your
I guess
musical career.
it felt like decades that I went on. It was like it was very extreme and everything happened really fast.
Yeah.
It was crazy, whirlwind. But yeah, I had to dip at some point. It was a lot. It's a lot to explain. But yeah, it's just a crazy time, and I was dealing with a lot of like personal stuff, and it was just like eating away at my mental health. Like I couldn't. Sure. I when I left, I felt like relieved. It was like I felt like I could finally. It was taking over my life. It was very intense. But then the two girls like went on to do it for a while, and they did other stuff, and yeah.
And then you, from there, did you stop making music for a little bit, or you kept continuing just like doing your own thing?
I started a band with my friend Asia called Mr. Downstairs for a bit. I felt like I wanted to express myself in other ways because I obviously love making music, and so I wanted to try to experiment with like another genre. So that was kind of more like an indie pop type thing. And yeah, towards the end with the Millionaires, like I was like writing a lot, like just songs, but like they couldn't be used for Millionaires because it was like something totally different. So it was cool just to have like another like creative outlet, and it was kind of like a palate cleanser, I guess, for me, like to kind of make this other music. It was like a full band, so like we wrote songs like in the studio with like everyone, and it was really cool and like different experience, like a practice space. I mean, before we were always in like studios, but it was cool. We had like our own practice space.
Yeah.
And, like,
and you said it was Mr. Downstairs?
Yeah.
And what was
it was very short lived because then like we had to move on because like nothing was happening with it and life was crazy.
For sure. And what was it? You said it was like a little bit more indie pop, but what derived that name? Like, where'd you guys get that name from?
It was from my friend because she was living in an apartment, and she had a really annoying downstairs neighbor who would like bang on the ceiling with a broom. Like even if she sneezed or we like walked too heavy, he would like go so ham.
Yeah.
But he never would like come face to face or confront. He would do all this weird shit.
Yeah.
So we just called him Mr. Downstairs because we didn't know like what his name was
Hell
because he would never talk to us. So
that's a funny ass
So
name.
we just called our band that for some reason.
Yeah.
We thought it was funny.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And then from there, did you guys is that music up online somewhere?
Yeah. We had a little EP. We made a music video. We had a song called Legendary.
Dope.
It was cute. It was fun.
And it was just like independent. You guys weren't the whole label thing.
No, I knew some label people, so I had some people come to our practice space to check us out, but no one was really biting, and it was just like I was moving at the time, and like this whole band dynamic was getting weird. Like people were like, is it you two or is it a band? And like all of a sudden it just seemed like it naturally just dispersed. Like everyone had to like, this person was moving to another state. Like I was going through a ton of shit. It just like,
and that was the beginning.
It was another just moment in time.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of like young adult life. You're 21, 22 probably around that time.
Like,
and shit was getting
serious.
At the time, shit was serious. And you look back on it now, you can laugh at it. But at the time, it felt even realer because you're like, I'm 21 now or 22. Like,
yeah, and I was like super broke and like I couldn't pay for this like space anymore.
Yeah.
Like it just felt like it just like fell apart like naturally, and I just had to move on. Like there was nothing I already tried to get assigned, so whatever.
So then what comes after that though? For you, musically?
After that, I actually I was like working random ass jobs, so many random jobs.
Yeah.
And I actually like played as like a hired like band member for a few artists. Like I was playing with this guy Itch, like a British rapper guy.
Okay.
I guess he was known from a previous project. I don't know. Anyways, I got hooked up with him. He was like on Red Bull, and so I played keys with him. And it was kind of like did backup vocals and stuff. I'm on one of the songs. He was working with like John Feldman at the time, so I got to go to the studio and record there, which was really cool.
Hell yeah.
But he was kind of crazy, and he fired me at some point.
Yeah.
I, like, it's weird. It's weird. But yeah, it was cool. Like Thomas Pridgeon was the drummer. He was one of the drummers for Mars Volta.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah.
So I got to like play with him and hang out with him all the time. So that was really cool. Yeah, and I was gonna do Warped Tour. I think it was 2010 or 11, but he fired me like a month before. And then like I guess he got kicked off anyways halfway because of being a wild ass boy. Being a wild ass boy. Yeah,
it happens.
He was a bad boy.
And it's crazy because it's like you want to be a rock star, and these are the things that usually come with it. You see these people just go off the rails a lot of the times, you know.
Yeah, that's why it was a cool like learning experience. I feel like, and it was cool just to like to be involved and be in a touring. We like went on tour in like Europe. We like opened for AWOL Nation, like at the height of like the sale.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember that song. I remember that song was a hit. That was a hilarious ass song.
But I got to hear that every night for like the longest time.
That's fucking
So
hilarious.
it was cool. It was like big shows. So
Yeah.
it was cool. And it was cool to be like kind of in the background and like not all the pressure's not on you.
Yeah.
So it was a cool like different experience.
Yeah, after that, after he gets dropped or whatever the case may be, and you get fired from that gig, and trust, dude, it happens. Getting fired is actually.
I've been fired so many times.
Yeah,
from so many things.
I look back on it, I'm like, I'm glad I got fired at those spots.
Yeah, it's probably good. It's
Yeah,
usually
it'd be
for the
crazy to
best.
still be a robot in there, like stocking shelves or whatever the case may be, or typing on a computer.
You don't
Fuck
need
all
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck all that. But so then from there, after the sale, the sale success happens
Yeah.
from there, whatever the case. You move forward, and is the Snowblood, as the artist that you are now, does that come into play anytime soon after that?
It kind of started, I guess, around in 2013.
Uh-huh.
We started talking about it. I kind of started off. Well, actually, kind of started when. So Luis and I started dating in 2013. We met each other. We knew each other from a way long time ago.
Mystery schools for
Mystery
the people that don't know.
Yes.
That's the man right there. But yeah,
and-
so that's where you guys meet around 2012, 2013.
Yeah, that's when like we like reconnected.
Hell yeah.
We had met like years and years ago, like on tour or whatever.
For sure.
So yeah, like 2013, and then I think because he was making this cool new music, and like we were like trying to think of something new for me because Mr. Downstairs had kind of just ended. I remember we were going to Comic-Con, and we were at a bar, and there was a drink called the Lady Snowblood, and we're like, man, that's a cool sounding drink. I want to get me one of those, you know.
Yeah.
And then we thought that's a really cool name, like. So I kind of like adopted it at that point, and obviously now I know its original origin is from like a 70s like revenge movie, Japanese revenge movie. It's called
dope.
Snowblood. It's really dope.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, but when I first started, I guess the first few years, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do next musically. So it kind of first started off with me like DJing a bit, but even with that, like I was still figuring out what I liked in this new era of me. So at first I was like DJing like new disco and like all this stuff kind of all over the map. So it took a couple years to really figure it out. So then by 2016 I was starting to record original songs. So the first song I recorded on was Mystery Skull's song called Hellbent.
Okay.
So that was kind of like the genesis, I suppose, of Snowblood existing. And then by 2017, I released my first album, which we did together at our.
Which was self-titled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just went for it, I guess. And yeah. So yeah, that's like it's a completely different sound. Still, it's like very unique.
Yeah.
We called it kind of like witchy pop. I didn't know like where it fit in to like any spectrum, but it was just a form of expression and was true to form for me at the time. I feel like it took me because we had these tracks like Luis is an incredible producer, so he made these insane tracks with these chords. I don't even know what to call them.
Yeah.
And so it took me a minute to, I think, make it my own and like figure out my voice with it, and also just to become like more confident in my singing, because like there's so many years in being a millionaire that people say like, oh, you can't sing, like.
Yeah, they were hating on the auto-tune and shit like that.
Yeah, so it's like that stuff really gets in your head and you believe it, you know what I mean? But I just always felt like I could make something like better, and like I can like anyway, so it took a bit, but I feel it was really worth it. Like I took lessons and I worked really hard at just becoming a better songwriter and vocalist, and so yeah, that became that 2017 album. And then since then even more has happened. I don't know. I've been listening to crazier music and like just trying to like just have fun with it. I feel like now I can have more fun with it. I feel like the first one, it was like I was figuring it out.
Well,
so.
that's cool. Like all of that, like you said, is true to form to being a product of a child or adolescent from a digital age, especially in the beginning from MySpace to where we're at now.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't think you should ever, and this is just my opinion for artists, I don't think you should ever feel insecure about pushing your sound and like blending genres and bringing everything in as an artist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because your music definitely, although it's in the web of electronic music, you can hear its different veins and derivative of stuff from the 90s, in the middle age of like 2009, like all the dance music coming out of there, and then like different stuff from the UK and Europe that didn't really latch on here in America. But
that's cool you mentioned,
if you love electronic music, you get where it's coming from. And I think at first it was really, when I first heard your album, I was like, yo, this sounds like it reminded me of Round One. You ever been to Round One? The
Is that
bowling,
a burger place?
the arcade.
I don't know. I don't think so.
It's over the hill. There's a couple in L.A. in Orange County, but it's a extremely big arcade slash bowling. Big, and it's
Sounds
like it's
dope.
like super big on like Asian culture. Like you go in there and there's like all kinds of crazy
Japanese
bright stuff.
arcades.
Yeah, stuffed animals, and then there's arcades, and like their arcades are dope because they don't give a fuck about transitioning from English. Like they stay Japanese. So when you're playing Tekken or Street Fighter, it's like
yeah.
it's the Japanese arcade. So you're just like, and the music's blasting, and I just picture your music bumping in that spot
That sounds
over and
dope.
over because I see it aesthetically.
Yeah,
There's a lot of metal
definitely.
and kawaii or
I got really into anime like a little bit after high school, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, like the songs like are so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely I feel like there was influence there.
What was your introduction to that? What was your first anime that you saw?
My first anime I saw?
Yeah, that got you into it where you're like, I'm going in.
Probably Sailor Moon. Of course, it's like
Yeah.
my favorite. And
Yeah.
then this one called Chobits, which is really weird. And I love Sword Art Online. I know that's like later on, but I didn't get into anime until maybe a little later.
Yeah, no, it's cool, and that's the thing. It's like, people. I understand that there's some type of like elite snobbish mentality when it's like, dude, this is such a nerdy thing for you guys to like gatekeep because
I don't think you the gatekeeping. Yeah.
yeah, because it's
It's
just
like,
like
people come to things in their own time.
yeah,
you
because
know?
I remember being 5 years old and my uncle showed me Akira, which is like
That's
one.
so dope. See, I had no idea.
Yeah, and
I
that
only
was
knew, like
mine.
American anime.
Yeah, and that
so-
was mind blowing to me because I was like, "What am I watching?" But I
So cool.
still to this day don't. There's parts of Akira where I'm like, I can't wrap my head around the story.
Yeah, it's
but
intense.
but it whatever it is, it's still captivating. And obviously, you look at, 25 years later, even more than that, because Akira came out in like '87,
Yeah.
so it was like ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And it's a situation where like I feel like that is a big staple into a lot of people getting into anime and like being comfortable because it's always been something that a lot of people were for whatever reason embarrassed to admit that they liked, especially in
weird.
like hip hop culture. And then you see now the kids embrace it now, which is funny.
Yeah.
But and I'm all for it there because it's like you guys should like. There's a lot of cool imagery and there's a lot of cool music and obviously Japanese culture and Asian culture in general has a major influence in a lot of music and fashion. And
yeah, it's very inspiring.
Yeah.
For sure. Like,
so yeah, those Sailor Moon and all those cartoons that you got into, I wasn't into them, but I can respect that it was like the legacy and the culture that it's brought and broadened here in America for
Yeah.
people that are into anime.
yeah, it's a whole world. I guess actually my first introduction to now that I think about it was a Studio Ghibli like films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totoro.
Yeah, I think the first one I saw was Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, dope.
So I was just like,
For me, it was Totoro
what?
at 5, around the same time too, like 5 or 6. My aunt showed me that, and it was a very wholesome film.
It's so beautiful.
It
Yeah,
really
it's
is.
like yeah.
A lot of those Ghibli films are just like very, very optimistic and but deep and sad, and the imagination of the whole team out there is
Yeah.
just like wild.
Yeah,
I
was
couldn't
like,
wrap
I
my-
didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
I knew there was like Dragon Ball, but like I don't know. I didn't get into it when I was younger.
For
So-
sure.
So when I saw like Studio Ghibli stuff, I was
Yeah.
like, this is very inspiring.
but yeah, so all of that influence, I'm just assuming here. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that everything we just talked about, from the electronic music to like the anime that we were talking about, does that have any influence on the music that you make right now?
Yeah, I think it definitely influenced more like the first gen, like my first album. I was
Uh-huh.
like very much into that.
Yeah.
This one it just came out from a different place. It's hard to describe. But I don't think it. Yeah, I haven't been watching anime at all or anything.
No,
like
and that's cool, but those are just like, a lot of imagery comes into my mind when I listen to your music, and a lot of it happens to be.
I got kind of more into like comic books and stuff. I think after that, so yeah, different
Dope.
comics have
Yeah.
inspired me as well. Mostly like from Image Comics. I'm like
For
obsessed
sure.
with like female-driven stories.
Hell yeah.
These powerful women. I don't know. It's just cool.
Yeah, images.
And then this one, it's more like this new generation, or not generation, just era that I'm just released is kind of more like an AI kind of. So it's just kind of like a dystopian kind of AI.
For
future.
sure. So now let's get into the album. I'm ready, and which it starts off with "Get out my fucking face,"
Yeah.
which is extremely like aggressive, but like I fuck with it because
Yeah.
it's straight up just like pounding. You know what I mean? That the drum just right off the bat, it's just like, "Yo, let's go. We're going into something intense." You know?
Yeah.
What derived writing that kind of music? Because it's aggressive lyrically, but were you angry at the time when you were writing it, or was it just
Kinda. It was a lot of it I wrote, or at least like the first half I wrote kind
because it
of
does
either
mellow
right
out?
before the pandemic happened and then during.
Yeah.
And I feel like Luis and I were trying to figure out sonically where we were going.
Yeah.
So we had tried a bunch of different stuff. So like the previous singles, like there's like Into Your Heart, and it's
Yeah.
very like 90s pop.
Yeah,
so it's always
that's where I
different
get the
vibes.
Spice Girls vibe from and shit like that.
Yeah. But then like later on, oh, these people are having fun.
Oh yeah. It's a very
I-
interactive setting out
Yeah,
here, you know?
yeah. I was able to really like pin down, I think, like my influences, which I'm really into recently. I've been really into like hard style and like hard dance and like Euro dance.
Yeah.
But also new metal.
Fuck yeah.
So
And see, I get that from, like, I hear parts of that throughout the whole album,
Yeah.
along with the pop stuff too. So it's like,
Yeah.
it really is. You really are an interesting artist in that sense, where it's like, it's cool that it's wrapped in an electronic sound, but if you're a music lover, you hear the influence that these sounds came out of, you know,
Yeah.
especially with, you know, Mystery Skulls. Did he produce?
yeah, he produced both
whole-
albums. Yeah.
Both albums. Hell yeah,
So we make them at home.
for sure.
Yeah. And then he made the track for Get Out My Fucking Face, and I was like, man, this sounds pissed.
Yeah.
And I immediately was just like, this sounds like Get Out My Fucking Face. And
Yeah.
then that was the song, like
Yeah.
just like that. And like, I've told the story, but basically we went out, we were indoors, you know, like forever during this pandemic.
For
And then
sure.
at some point I was like, I need to get out, like let's go on a hike. But like I didn't think about it. I didn't think about the fact that it was Sunday and it was Father's Day. So we tried to go on a hike, and there were
Yeah.
so many people not wearing masks, people
Yeah.
like getting so close to you, and I was just like so uncomfortable with it because like I hadn't been around people for so long.
Yeah.
And after like 5 minutes, I was like, let's just turn around, let's go home. Like I can't take this. It's like it was giving me so much anxiety. So we just like went home, and the song isn't directly about any of the hikers or anything, but I was just like kind of pissed. I was just like, yeah. So I was just mad. and
Yeah. That
recorded it like that day, I think.
All right.
It didn't have the ending yet, but I was like, I feel like I want the ending to have this like crazy like metal breakdown.
Yeah, just drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it'd be just a cool, fun opening track.
No, that's
to just
dope.
really just kick you in the face.
And then it goes into I'm Ready, and
Yeah.
that has like a super cool, like, it's my favorite snip of a beat where it's like, it sounds like Prodigy, you know?
That's dope. I've gotten that before. And I'm
for
like,
sure.
that's so cool. I didn't even like think about that when we were making
And I just
it.
see neon green and black and just like, it's intense, but it's dope. And yeah, it goes into that, and it's a very. Do you plan on you know, once music festivals happen, do you want to play like music festivals?
Oh hell yeah, I would
Fuck
love
yeah.
to. That's why like these songs are. It's sad because it's like they have such an energy. Like these need to be in
Yeah,
a club
for
or
sure.
a huge festival or something. It has that big sound, which
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe some artists would have deterred from making something like that during that time because obviously it's not available. But I just said fuck it, like I want to do it anyways.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I want to rage out. I want to like I like those like that high octane energy.
Fuck yeah.
And like it's gonna open up again eventually, and when
Yeah.
it does, like
Yeah.
we'll finally get to hear the songs in that setting
Yeah.
where they belong. So it'll be really cool. I feel like once we can get to that point. But
Fuck yeah.
I just said fuck it, I want to do it anyways. I don't care. Like, and it was just the energy I was feeling.
And
Just kinda-
you did a live stream and it was based on Euro time, right? The one that you just recently did.
Oh yeah,
Club Quarantine.
yeah.
How'd you get in contact with them?
Well, that was my first actual set with Club Quarantine, and I had actually been hoping to do something with them like for a while.
And are
but
they
I-
from the UK or were they?
That's a good question.
Yeah?
I think so. I think
Okay.
they are.
How'd you link up with them? Just
through a new recent friend, this girl Reiki Ripper. She's from Spain.
Okay.
I was on. Do you know who Dorian Electra is?
I've heard the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I loved Dorian. They're amazing. Check them
Okay.
out. But yes, so I was invited to do a DJ set with Subculture, which I'm doing another show with them tonight.
Oh, okay, dope.
Where I did like the after party for the Dorian Electra for their album, which came out the same day or a week. Anyways, whatever. Close to when my album came out. And then Reiki was playing like the actual Dorian show because I was playing the after party. And I guess maybe she was looking at who the other artists were on the other show, and she listened to my music and liked it, but then she realized I was in Millionaires, and she was a huge Millionaires fan. So we
there you go. See, there's benefits to that.
Yeah, so we connected, and she's really sweet, and she had me feature on a song on her new EP along with this artist from the UK called Roma Rads.
Okay.
And it's a cool song, really cool, and her EP is really dope. So the Club Quarantine was like a 1 month of her EP, which I was on, so I was involved, which is cool because Club Quarantine have really cool artists
and so I want to bring that back because you toured pre-pandemic with Mystery Schools, and
Yep.
you were opening up for them.
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
and
2 U.S. tours.
U.S. tours. Did you guys you guys didn't do any European tours?
He went to the UK afterwards, but
Yeah.
I just did the US, and then we did some Canada dates.
Because
But
I see you.
I haven't been to Europe with Snowblood yet, but I must because I feel like I mean, at least according to like the streaming like numbers or whatever,
Yeah.
like people in like Germany and Russia and UK and like all these places are really into it. So
For sure, and I love that because I could see it being played over there. I spent a month in Europe in 2017, and I was in Berlin.
Oh, I love Berlin.
Hell yeah, and it just seems like I hear it playing there. Maybe even.
Hell yeah. I'm
hopefully
doing
one day.
a song with an artist. I don't know if I can announce it yet, but I'm doing a lot of collabs, and this girl I'm working on a track with is from Berlin.
Hell yeah.
So I'm like, I'm hoping I can go out there or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, God, I'm so jealous. That's
So I
cool.
want to tie that in because the album sounds like it could be played around. It could be embraced by a lot of Southeast Asia because I've spent time in Thailand and in, Bali, and I heard intense
went to
music
Bali.
like that. Yeah.
I love Bali.
Hell yeah. But I could see your music being played in a bunch of these cafes and clubs and you know, like, have you received any love from those parts at all?
Just like,
on
yeah,
the
I
new
mean,
album?
just, yeah, people reaching out. I've definitely been sending a lot of like t-shirts and signed stuff to people in Germany,
Hell
like a
yeah.
lot of people in Germany. So I
Yeah.
would love to go back there.
I feel like the world will embrace your music in the electronic side of things. I feel like you're gonna do good, and you just got to build a lot of influence out there from like Southeast Asia and Europe. And I think y'all have no problem in getting love from those places of the world. I see it. Just it was a weird time this past year, and you put out an album, so I feel like it's just gonna take time to grow. You know?
Yeah,
So-
totally. But I feel like I was trying to just grow, I guess, in an online kind of way during this time because that's all you can do. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see like there's like new fans and these like interesting places and people who are finding me again who are fans of the old music.
Hell
and I was
yeah.
like, I wondered what happened to you.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
this
and
is
you're
crazy.
Still, you're still around.
Yeah. So.
And it's bigger and better, and it's a lot more intense. And you got a good duo with Mystery School, so it's like you guys. It's cool that you guys work so well together, and he brings out exactly what I assume you want to lay down vocals on. You know, that kind of production style.
Yeah.
So, and then after that, crazy fucking robot body.
Yeah.
Yeah. What inspired that?
Yeah, I wrote and recorded that in like February of 2020. So it was like right before everything kind of was like about to go down.
Yeah.
But there was already like a feeling like of unrest and
Yeah.
like just weird shit happening all over. And we were trying to find this sound. I kept saying like, I don't know, I want something kind of like big and dancey, like big room or something. And we were trying big room stuff, and I was like, it wasn't really connecting. And then we listened back to some older tracks where it was more hard style. Because I remember I brought it up. I was like, maybe like hard style. I'm like really into hard style. What if we try to do something that's like pop and hard style?
Yeah.
And he's like, I feel like I made you something like that like years ago. And he pulled something up from a different time, which ended up being all around the world.
Okay.
But then around that same time, because he has stuff labeled like from different time frames, there was this other track, which is Crazy Fucking Robot Body.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't remember ever hearing this. This was like the coolest shit I've ever
Hell
heard
yeah.
in my life.
So you brought it back from the dead.
Yeah, it would have just existed in like computer purgatory forever.
Yeah.
And I just heard it, and it's one of those songs that I just feel like I wrote in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just 'cause it had that line there.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, sounds like Crazy Fucking Robot Body. It just felt
Natural and
appropriate to me. And it just came out, and it's just like this cool story of a AI robot who's like trapped in a lab being experimented on for however long, and she finally realizes I'm way smarter and stronger than this fucking guy, and I can just get rid of him and free yourself.
Boom.
And then that's what leads into All Around the World, which is then kind of like this free robot who's then like, I guess, preaching to
Hell yeah.
like other robots maybe that were in this world oppressed, and she's calling them forth to gather and like revolt, basically.
Yeah, and it's relevant.
So it's just like a story I like fabricated.
That's dope, and it's all around the world. It definitely has a relevant message during that time of all of the unrest that was happening in the world.
I recorded that literally the day before like shit officially went into lockdown, and I was just already feeling just all this crazy energy and just pissed, and I just got it all on there. Just
that was a weird time, but I'm glad that you got something productive out of that.
Yeah.
You know?
I told myself early on, I'm like, this shit is crazy. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to try to push forward and create new stuff and just do what I can, because that's all we can do, you know? So I don't want to just, like, sit around, you know? So
and just get, you know, you can literally kind of go insane if you just sit there and focus on all of the bad.
Oh, I would have, for sure. So it was definitely, definitely saved me, I feel like, to focus on this and like harness all my creative energy into something during the time.
Hell yeah.
Or else, like the anxiety takes over.
And after that is another level. And that beat also goddamn slaps too.
Yeah.
And you throw in, and it's crazy because it
reminded
me when I first heard it, before you even say the opening line, it reminded me of a very futuristic NERD beat, and then you end up using an NERD line. So
and that's why maybe it came, like, the line came to me. Or at first,
it sounded like something Pharrell would have made it in on.
I was obsessed with that NERD album. So
hell
like,
yeah.
I was like, damn, is it cool if I reference that? Like, so I just went for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic line.
At first started, I don't know why, I thought it like, you can't see me. I thought of like John Cena. And then I thought, no, you can't be me. I'm a pop star. So I like changed it. But I love that album. So yeah, that was definitely a big influence.
Hell yeah.
And it was cool to like kind of bring back a kind of like rap vibe. I hadn't done that in a really I hadn't channeled that kind of energy since The Millionaires. So to me that was just kind of referencing that time. I do a Millionaires reference as well, and it's in my mind, it's kind of thought like this could be a genesis of like maybe the next Snowblood sound. I don't know where we're gonna go with it, but there could be more of that for sure.
That's dope because it has a for sure futuristic but like hip hop bounce, and I'm always a fan of that. And yeah, you executed well on that track for sure. So that's dope. And all those references, like I said, I think it's really cool that you're not afraid to bring your influences from all kinds of things that you watch and listen to as a kid, and you were influenced by and you bring it into your music. So that's dope.
Thanks.
And then the rest of the album kind of just like mellows out a little bit.
Yeah, it kind of gets random because they were like songs I had previously released, but I just wanted to include those so that because I had played them on the tours, and I really love those songs, so I wanted them to exist like in a physical medium. So I was like, let's just wrap this up as a package for everyone.
Yeah. And it went well. It doesn't sound like the rest of the tracks are out of place. It's kind of cool that it starts off like a wave of energy and then kind of just mellows out into more of a dancey, or just like you can just relax to it, you know?
Yeah, this is the last song. You're just like floating in space. So it takes you to all these different places.
After Another Level, there's what's the track after that?
I think it's Into Your Heart.
Yeah.
So that's a kind of like bubblegum 90s song that we made because Luis got this new piece of gear that it's from the 90s. It only makes 90s songs. And I love 90s pop. So I was like, let's like make something like that. So yeah, that was really fun to make that one.
Dope.
It kind of exists in its own plane there, I guess.
Yeah. No, it's cool though. Like I said, the remaining of the album is just like
it's kind of like the assortment of like what led to these songs. Like,
and then so from there, after this, have you been working on more music since you dropped the album?
Yeah, definitely. I've been trying to figure out like what direction I want to go in. I've worked on a bunch of different new demos. So I'm just trying to figure out like what pricks my ear the most and like what direction I want to go in. But at the same time, I keep getting hit up for a bunch of collaborations. Like I'm working on like at least 5 different collaborations right now or something. So it's almost like I'm letting my music take a backseat for just a minute while I'm sorting things out and like working on collabing with other artists, because I want to make a point to do that more, because I think it's just cool to enter other artists' world and it brings more people to my music as well, and it's cool to like meet new people. So I feel like I've just like been meeting a lot of new internet friends.
Hell yeah. And it'll
they're always just like, do you want to be on the song? And I'm like, yeah, I do. So
and it'll also sharpen your diversity in how you like listen to music and you can get on different beats. 'Cause I saw that
Exactly.
you did a song for the new Dragon Ball series, right?
Yeah, I actually did that like it was like from like 4 years ago. It was like 2018. But I think it was just put on Hulu. So
Yeah.
I was posting. I just every time I see it, I'm reminded of it. I'm like, whoa, this is so cool. I
Yeah,
can't
that's
believe this
super
exists.
cool. Yeah.
So yeah, that was.
How did that
really
come
fun.
about?
We're friends with some people at Funimation.
Okay.
Luis, Mr. Schools was friends. This voice actress called Brina Palencia. She's really sweet and awesome person.
Yeah.
And she, I guess she's a voice actress, but also puts together. I guess she's musically inclined, so I think she helps put together some of the music for some of the shows. And she asked me to do one. She asked Luis to do one.
Hell yeah. So then it's kind of cool because it goes back to where we were talking about how anime has influence not just on the visuals but like the music too. So it's cool
Totally.
that you kind of manifested that collaboration, you know?
Totally. I think it's super cool. I'm actually, I'm in studying voice acting as well for a few years. So
Dope.
I actually got cast in something to do with anime. I
Okay.
can't really say what it is.
Yeah.
I already recorded it. I don't know when it's coming out. It may be a video game. I'm not sure. But it's something possibly big. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've been doing a lot of auditions for animes. And I've been
Dope.
doing like Walla for a lot. Because it's like a way they get you in to kind of train you. Walla is like where you do like the background voices and stuff.
Yeah. Well, shit,
I've done a bunch of Walla this year, and I got cast in like a original animated film last year. I don't know when the fuck it's coming out, but yeah. So I've been actually dabbling in being in anime and such as well. So
Well, dope. I might need to hit you guys up because I want to get into the connection, use my voice into.
Hell yeah.
I'd be down to be Perfect Cell. You cannot defeat me. You know, like a new version of Perfect Cell. That would
hell
be
yeah,
sick.
you kill it.
You know,
It's definitely really fun. It's like a whole world. It seems like it takes a minute to get into. Like I've had to do a bunch of classes and workshops and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's definitely really rewarding. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
That's
So
cool that
I'm hoping to get more
you know
stuff.
you have, because the tight thing about, again, going back to who you are as an artist, I could see you being so expansive in so many outlets like voice acting and with music and anime and just like even with you DJing and stuff. Like it's cool that you're multifaceted and willing to just like give it a shot and put yourself in those positions.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to do, like, I'm in a very yes mood. Like almost any opportunity that comes up, I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
Dope.
Like I'm just like down. Like so I'm excited to like try new things and meet more people. I'm excited to play shows again. And,
Hell yeah.
and I've been DJing more, I guess, because there's all these like virtual DJ parties.
Yeah,
So I feel
yeah.
like I've been exploring that more and getting better at it. I finally just learned about EQ mixing. I was just doing filters this whole
Yeah.
time. What the hell? So yeah, I'm really excited about getting better at DJing and just finding out like what kind of stuff I like to jam and mix.
Hell yeah.
It's like all Eurodance.
Yeah, I saw.
And
I
trance.
was watching your live stream with Spence, and you definitely brought in some classics,
Hell
and
yeah.
with some stuff that I've never heard, off the wall shit for sure.
Yeah, I'm
but
really
that's-
into like this band called Little Big. They're from like Russia. I'm into a lot of like stuff from like Eastern Europe, I guess.
Dope,
Yeah.
and I love it because it's something that I'm always down for artists to put me onto other artists that I've never even heard, and it just gets, the weirder that music gets, I'm willing to give it a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
As a
definitely like
listener.
really weird stuff.
Yeah, I'm with it. So I definitely see you, both you and Mystery Schools, just getting bigger and bigger at what you guys do as artists, and yeah, just keep staying weird and collabing and just like blend all of the genres, blend it
Yes.
all, dude.
We're gonna do polka next.
Hell yeah, yeah. Hard style polka.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Could be cool.
Yeah.
I actually have heard some polka sound and stuff because like the bouncy stuff.
Yeah.
It's basically electronic polka.
For sure, and it's crazy when you look at the history of
I
music
joke,
and
but-
what can be. No, I get it, but it's a situation where you never know.
Yeah.
The future is endless in the sense of like, when did we ever think that dubstep was going to be actual like music genre that slapped? It just, when I first heard it, I thought it was like, it sounded like you spilled water on a computer and then like the Autobots were like fighting and shit. I don't know, it's
Oh
weird
my
as fuck.
God.
You know, it's just, I
Yeah.
would have never thought that it would have been a musical genre, but here we are, 10 years later, and it still
pushing,
slaps.
pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, but I say all that, we'll leave it on a positive note. You're DJing another live stream today?
Yeah,
With
so
who?
I'm DJing with Subculture World.
Okay.
Super cool collective. I think they're based out here in LA.
Yeah.
They put on real shows during normal times, so hopefully when things open up again, I could work with them again. But yeah, it's an album release of an artist called Banshee. I actually haven't listened to her yet, but I'm going to obviously tonight. And
Yeah.
so it's cool. They asked me to be on it, and I said hell yeah, and so it's cool. I love meeting these new artists and being involved. So.
And these live streams will also be, you'll be able to go see them in, after it's all said and done and recorded, right? Because do you know?
Yeah, this one I'll probably upload the audio. This is what we learned from this last one. But yeah, we recorded my set last time, and there's so much copyrighted material. I thought, I didn't even think about the fact that I can't put that on YouTube. You know what I mean? So yeah, the last one Spencer shot is really awesome, but we put that on Vimeo because it's allowed. But
hell yeah.
But yeah, so for now it'll probably exist. Maybe I'll put it like on my what's it called, YouTube, IGTV.
Yeah.
I think you do up to like 15-20 minutes on there.
Dope.
And then yeah, my SoundCloud, I have a few mixes on there from the Dorian Electro Party. And,
Hell yeah.
Some other stuff. You have to check out Dorian. Really
I'm gonna have to definitely check that out.
And yeah, so
Cool.
I'm excited about that.
So the live stream and then more music to come soon.
Yeah, it sucks. I feel like I'm working on so much stuff right now that I can't really talk about yet. Cause I'm working on all these collaborations. They're not announced yet. There's one definitely coming out next month. I'm really excited about with a good friend. So that will be dope. And yeah, there should be collaborations throughout the year. And working on just really finalizing my next single. I'm thinking when I have the next single, when it comes out, I'll do like a proper show. Because I haven't really performed any of the songs from the album yet.
Yeah.
So maybe Spencer and I could do a cool live thing. We'll record it, and that will actually go on YouTube because it's my own music.
Yeah. No, that's dope. And I'm excited for people that haven't heard you, that watch this channel to do a deep dive on who you are. And I'm glad that we got a lot of insights to who you are. Yeah, well, because I knew you were gonna bring something cool, but it's even more awesome to know that like it makes sense why you're the person that you are, and I'm excited to see what comes from what you're gonna do. You know?
Well, thank you for the thoughtful questions. I hadn't like gone all the way back to the present in a while, so it's interesting even from my perspective to see how it all came together.
I'm glad you.
I'm just living it. I have no idea.
I'm glad you had a good time because I'm still new at this stuff, and I'm always like, dude, please don't make the interviewer look at you like, what are you even asking, dude? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm glad it didn't happen. Maybe it did, but you did a good job at not showing it. So we'll leave it at that. Snowblood, you're going to do a live stream, and you got the album. I'm ready. Go stream that.
Hell yeah.
Is there anything else you want to tell the viewers?
World?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the rest of your channel, these guys' channel. Like,
hell yeah. Truanseez, baby.
Yeah, these are my friends. Yeah, and I'll have new stuff this year. And enjoy the album. It's on everything. And yeah, check out my new video too. I have a music video for I'm Ready. So
oh hell yeah,
that's on YouTube
for sure.
And I'm a vampire, and I come out of the ground.
Oh yeah, so I saw some clips of it. Yeah, dude, definitely the aesthetics on that is wild. So
Thanks.
Yeah, go watch that video. And yeah, I think we're good here. So
hell yeah.
Truanseez.
Truanseez.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yay.